Hey, Tim.
Hey, Dan.
How's things?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty wet.
Yes, yes. Well,
Yeah.
I've got a couple jokes for you here. A couple accountant-related jokes, actually.
Okay.
Um, I'm going to start off one that I think you will like. It's how do you know when your son is going to be a CPA?
Ooh. Good question. I don't know.
Hmm. When you read him Cinderella and you get to the part about the pumpkin turning into a golden carriage, he asks, "Daddy, is that ordinary income or a capital gain?"
That's gold.
Another one, funny. How did the accountant propose to his girlfriend?
Good question. Not
Mm,
sure.
with an engagement letter.
That's gold. Oh, you can keep that in mind, Dan.
Yeah, I'll keep that one in mind for
You
no
walked right into
future
that
use.
one.
Yeah. There's one other thing from this page that I think I've found a new slogan for us.
Love it. Okay.
It is welcome to the Two Drunk Accountants, where you process the debit and we'll take the credit.
That's so good.
All right,
Nice.
let's play the intro.
Thanks for that, Stan. Hi, this is Tim. This is just a heads up that all the advice you're hearing in this podcast is general in nature. If you want something more specific, then feel free to contact us.
Drunk accountant, drunk accountant, drunk accountant, drunk accountant, drunk accountant, drunk accountant, drunk accountant. Hello and welcome to the podcast. My name is Dan,
And I'm Tim,
and we are
the Two Drunk Accountants.
accountants. This week on the podcast, Tim, we're going to be discussing how to use if I was to use last week's or the week before Myth Tax Busters episode. If I was to give this a headline that is really going to capture the market, would be how to deduct your home loan interest in your discretionary trust.
Yeah, that's the clickbait. That's the clickbait on this one.
Yeah.
And maybe you can just even expand it out to how to deduct your home loan interest.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what people want. They
How do
really
I
want to claim a tax deduction.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
get it. And the productivity roundtable is on today.
Oh, wow.
It's actually been on the last
Ah.
2 days.
We were a late apology, obviously. So
I sent apologies from us, obviously.
They obviously have seats there, little name tags.
Yeah.
Sitting there, Tim and Dan, Two Drunk Accountants.
We can't make it to every event, guys. We wish we could. We wish we could. You know, if it was up to me, I would be there right now debating all sorts of stuff. But unfortunately, we couldn't make this one. Tim, I got something important I want to discuss with you today, and that was that about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, I made a pledge, and you decided to join me.
Mm-hmm.
And phase 1 of this pledge was keep it long for ZeroCon.
Yeah, keep it long for ZeroCon.
I've done my bit. What do you think of
It's
the
looking good?
What do you think? I'm just going to take my headphones off for a sec to show the audience.
Lush.
If you're watching this on YouTube.
Oh, it's waving. It's waving. You just need a fan. You need a fan behind the screen.
How long that is? Like I got to tuck behind the ear. Even
it's quite long, Dan. It's quite long.
It's certainly the longest I've had it in a very long time.
I like it. I think it's actually looking pretty good. I think, yeah. I didn't say anything, but you went through a few weeks of awkward phase there.
There was definitely
no, I'm kidding. It wasn't even noticeable. It's just something you notice, I think. But yeah, no, I think it's looking good, man. You should keep it up.
Thanks, Tim. Well, we did say that we're going to try and keep it long all the way to October, as I think was.
We did say that. Our hair's going to be pretty long if we go to October. My hair was already quite long when I was saying that. So
your hair,
like full ponytail.
Mine will get to by October.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, one thing you got going for you, Dan, you don't even have greys in that luscious mop of yours.
Wrong. There is a couple. They're around here. Do you know what, actually, that I have noticed? The longer my hair's got, the less I can see the grey.
Yeah, wow.
The shorter my hair is, I see more grey.
Interesting.
I'm getting younger as the days go on.
Imagine how grey my hair would look if it was short.
Well, I'm looking at your hair right now, and like you've always had a few greys, but you're you're going to be grey. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
But by like 40, you're going to have white hair.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I am aware of this. Though 40 is only 5 years away, Dan. It's actually not that far away.
I would like to see a photo from 5 years ago to show you the progress that you've made in that time.
Okay, so how is the long hair going with all this moisture in the air, all this wet weather? Are you finding it's frizzy?
It's becoming wildly untamable, to be honest. When I wake up in the morning, it looks like I've been electric shocked.
Yes.
Like it's that shot from Home Alone 2 where he touches the tap on, like.
Yes. You have to shower. If you don't want to wear a hat, you have to shower with long hair.
You have to.
I sometimes do just have like a head shower. If I just want to make it, if I need a 2-minute in and out, I'll just throw the head under, get it nice and damp.
Do you put product in your hair?
I was when it was a little shorter, because I got a haircut and sort of trimmed it a fair bit, and my hair's quite curly, so just like scrunches. But lately, no.
Yeah.
You know what's better than product?
What?
You just wear a hat for like an hour.
I agree.
And just squishes it all down and like makes it nice and compact, and it's like hat hair in a good way.
I totally agree. This is a tight-ass tip. Save on product.
Wear a hat.
Like, when you wash your hair and it just becomes like an afro, basically. And your hair, just for a day, you're like, I look ridiculous.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
You wash it so it's clean, and then you just pop a hat on, and you wear a hat. You're a hat guy that day, and then by the next day, it's fine.
Isn't that weird? Like, strange the things we do to look as good as we do, Dan.
Yeah. Well, if you see us running around, maybe at Xerocon, if you're going to be there, to all the accountants listening today, to all you small business owners, if you just see us out in public, give us a shout and just say, "Loving the hair, boys," and I'd be like, "Well, thank you."
Dan might even give you a little flick of the hair.
I'll give you a little
in your direction.
Yeah. I'll make sure to turn into the wind.
Yeah, hopefully there's a prevailing breeze. It is August, September. It gets windy this time of year. So, I think, the conditions are ripe. The conditions are ripe, Dan. So
exactly. All right. Well, we've tackled that important issue. So let's move on to our main topic, shall we? The main topic today is an interesting one that I've actually come across recently, and it's something that you occasionally get asked about. And as I said, if I wanted to do the clickbait headline, I'd be saying, "How do I deduct my home loan interest?"
Because that is what this is about, really, at the heart of it. And it is possible to claim a deduction for your home loan interest. But
what we're actually talking about in this specific circumstance is when you have a discretionary trust in which you have purchased investments through, or other assets, whatever it happens to be, you run a business in, and you've put in some working capital, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So let me run you through a theory, or not a theory, a situation. Completely pretend scenario, pretend people and numbers. If you're listening out there and you're wondering who this is, it's no one in real life. Dan O wants to buy shares in a company. I have the opportunity to buy this investment, and I have this discretionary trust, and I've decided, hey, for family planning purposes, I would love for this investment to be in this trust. And then it's going to be for the benefit of my kids and my partner and future investments. And so that's the vehicle I wanted in. But I don't have enough money in the trust to buy this investment. I do, however, have plenty of equity in my home. So I go to my mortgage broker, probably Nick Ware at Mortgage Choice Wyong. And
if you want $100 gift voucher.
If you want $100, exactly. Go chat to Nick. And I was speaking to Nick, and he said, yeah, we can definitely process this. And he gets me a new loan where I have drawn out $100,000 for this investment.
Yeah, like a new separate loan.
Separate loan. It's separate loan. It's clearly identifiable as I have borrowed $100,000 against this property for the purpose of buying this investment that I'm trying to do.
That right there is really, we'll talk more about this after you finish your example, Dan. But that right there is important point number one.
Yes,
So,
important point number
separate
one.
loan.
Yep. I then contribute that money into my discretionary trust, and that discretionary trust then purchases this investment, and happy days.
Yep.
I've got it. It's in my trust. I put the money in to do it. Now, that investment then starts to pay me dividends. I get, let's say the following year, I get paid 10 grand of dividends. And the discretionary trust decides, the trustee decides at the end of the year that, hey, that 10 grand of dividends is going to Dan.
Yep.
So I have $10,000 worth of a trust distribution income in my tax return for that year. Now that $100,000 that I borrowed to put into my discretionary trust has been charged $5,000 of interest. So most people would assume, hey, I borrowed that money for the purpose of buying that investment, and I have now earned some income from that investment. I can therefore deduct my interest against the income of which I have received from that investment.
Yep. They would assume that.
They would assume that. However, they would be wrong. It's a little bit of a trick here.
Yep.
And it's something that I'm sure lots of people get caught up in because you just think, hey, I borrowed money to buy this investment. You can't do it. Now, there are many little nuances here that I'm going to dive into that's going to get a little bit complicated. So make sure, tell me, Tim, if I'm getting too much in the weeds here by following Dan's story on.
I will.
The issue here is that Dan Osborne, Dan O, sorry.
Not you.
D Osborne.
Total fictional character. Yeah.
has borrowed $100,000 to purchase this asset, and I've put that money into that trust. But a discretionary trust, there is no fixed entitlement to any income. I'm not buying shares directly.
If you've listened to our episode about entity structures, about trusts, you will know that is a great feature of a discretionary trust. You can send 100% of income to one person one year and 100% of income to a different person the next year. And that's totally legal, totally legit.
Correct. But that also means that you're entitled to nothing each year. The trustee does not have to give you any money. You might be the trustee, but it doesn't matter.
You're not absolutely entitled to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's not guaranteed that you will get anything.
Yeah.
Which makes it hard to then claim a deduction for the interest against that amount.
Exactly. In this instance, you haven't borrowed funds with the intention of getting that return back or an entitlement of getting a return back from that investment. You've just lent money to a discretionary trust.
Yep.
Now, that's a pain because most people would then want to claim that interest against the income and maybe even negatively gear that investment. Let's say you bought a property in that trust. And the only way you could get the money was to borrow it yourself and put it in. Well, guess what? You can't claim that interest now.
Yeah.
It's a wasted deduction.
Yeah.
So what can you do? How can you claim this? Now, the big issue with all of this is that you lent that money to your trust interest-free. There is no return on it. But if you set up a complying loan agreement for the money that you've put in, and let's just say that you borrowed from the bank at 5% over 30 years, you then set up a loan agreement with your trust to say, hey, I'm giving you this 100 grand. I'm entering into a loan agreement where you owe me this money back at 5.1% over 30 years. Well, in that instance, you are earning interest income guaranteed every year from that loan, and you're earning an interest expense. The bank's definitely going to charge you that guaranteed every year. And they almost offset each other. You've made a slight little bit of a gain there, and there might be a tiny amount of income that you've got that you then declare. What that does is it essentially makes you neutral.
Yeah.
For real purposes, not much gain. You're not paying much tax on that. You've made a little profit. Instead, that interest expense is now an expense inside the trust, which it has then earned income and can claim that interest off against that investment before it then distributes the profit, if any, to anyone else. So if the interest is more than the income in which it's earning, it makes a loss. There is no trust distribution. It then carries forward that loss to offset against future years' income.
Yeah. So I think what's important to note about what you're saying there, Dan, is, and this is where people go wrong with this claiming your home loan interest
Mm.
against a loan that you've given to your company or your trust or whatever it
Yep.
may be, is there must be a nexus between the deduction and
Yep.
the income.
Yep.
And so by creating that loan agreement, which you talked about before,
Yep.
particularly in the scenario of a discretionary trust where there is no absolute entitlement
Mm.
to income,
Yep.
this is going to prove that there is income against which that individual can claim the deduction of the interest.
Yeah.
And that it's still achieving the ultimate tax saving outcome of
Yep.
the interest deduction just in the
Mm.
trust.
Yeah, that's right. It occurs in the trust. You can
Smart.
offset that loss from that investment against other income in the trust. The only thing you can't do is then there's no negative gearing of your income. So if
Yeah.
you were hoping to use that loss to offset other income personally, well, this isn't a strategy which you then can use.
Yeah, and this is where it's like it's different for someone who is on a high wage,
Yeah.
who's an employee,
Mm.
versus you're on a high wage, you own your own business,
Mm.
then owning an asset in a trust and structuring a loan this way is probably more tax effective than just negatively gearing because you can, you're lucky you can control where your income goes. You can take
Yeah.
profits from the business into the trust. So you can actually achieve better tax outcomes that way, versus someone who's just on a wage, then negative gearing in their own tax return, then that becomes their best option. So,
Yeah.
so this is certainly not negative gearing. In negative gearing, you have to own the property in your own name. It
Yep.
can't be under a trust or a company. But there's also a lot of reasons why that doesn't work for someone who's self-employed, and it might not be the best option for someone who's self-employed because negative gearing, we know, eats into your personal budget, and you've got to take out way more profits and way more wages, and therefore pay way more tax
Yeah.
to achieve a tax saving.
Yep.
So it's kind of like counterintuitive there. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Carry on your example, Dan.
Yeah, well, it's
What's
just an
next?
interesting one, and I think the points that we need to detail out so far, that if I was to highlight the important facts along this journey for Dan, number one, he took out a separate loan for this investment. It's clearly identifiable that he took out this loan for this purpose.
Let's talk about this a little bit
Yeah.
too, because this is a really, really important point. This may be even more of an important point than the loan agreement with the trust. That's a very niche. That's a
Yeah.
very niche point, and that is really important. If you have done this, you've got a trust with an asset in it. You
Mm.
borrowed money, and you're claiming interests
Yep.
somewhere, either in your name or the trust.
Yep.
Then you need to review what you're doing there. But in the first instance, if you are lending money from your personal funds into a company or a trust, or another entity, and you want to claim a tax deduction for interest,
Yep.
then it needs to be a separate loan that's separately identifiable to
Yeah.
your owner-occupied home loan.
Yeah, because if let's go back to the basics on this. If you borrow money to purchase your own home, the money that you have used from the bank is purchasing your home, and therefore no interest deductible, right?
Yeah.
If you were to buy an investment property and you took out a brand new loan for the entire investment property, the purpose of that loan was to purchase that investment, and therefore the interest is deductible. What gets tricky is when people try and use the loan that's against or for their personal, main residence, to
And they
purchase
redraw.
their investments, and they redraw on that loan, or they take out of their offset account, whatever it
Even
happens
worse,
to
the
be.
offset. Yeah,
Correct.
even worse.
That often is not a tax deduction because you haven't borrowed for the purpose of buying an investment. You've just taken money essentially out of your savings account. It's not a new loan. It's not for the purpose of buying that investment property. Now, you can claim your interest on your main residence for your investment as long as the portion that you're claiming for has actually been borrowed for the purpose of buying that investment. So, for instance, let's say you bought a $600,000 home and you had a $500,000 loan. And then in 10 years' time, your house is worth $1 million, and you've only got $400,000 loan, right?
You could borrow another 400 potentially.
example number one, you go and you get a separate new loan of $400,000. So you have two loans of $400,000. One of them was to purchase the original house, and the other 400 you have taken and you bought an investment property. That second $400,000, the interest on that is the tax deduction against the income you earn from that investment property. But let's say over that 10 years, you've done really well and you actually put $400,000 in an offset account. And so you have essentially zero loan, but really you've got a $400,000 loan with $400,000 in an offset account. And then you take the $400,000 from the offset. That's not a tax deduction. You haven't borrowed.
Exactly.
It's just a savings account.
You can't track
that.
Although it is going to cost you more interest now because you've removed the funds from the offset, and you will actually start to be charged interest on your home loan. It's not a tax deductible interest amount because there's no loan. You just used your savings basically. So yeah, the smart thing to do here is new separate loan. Very easy to trace that it is for an investment or a deductible or an income producing purpose that you can claim a deduction against basically. And it's just impossible to unwind that once it's done,
Exactly.
And it's the interest rates are high at the moment. So it is really disappointing when you can't claim that 20 grand of interest
for sure.
in your personal tax return. It's like such a big difference.
The opposite of this is true as well. Is if you have a loan against an investment and then you redraw on that loan or you borrow more money against that investment for private purposes, that interest is not deductible because it's the purpose the money was used for, not
exactly
what asset you've secured it against.
This trips up people all the time. So so even if you've just wrapped your head around that from this episode of the podcast, then that's a win. But then step number 2, taking it a little step further, because Dan likes to push our puny brains. Where now in this niche example, lending we're injecting that money into a discretionary trust that's buying an asset.
The only way that interest is then deductible is if you have a loan agreement for that money and you charge at least, if not more, and I think the crucial part is the slightly more interest than what the bank's charging you for that.
Because then it's at a market rate.
It's market rate and it's your profit making. There is a deduction against income.
So that's massive. I think and. Let's say you didn't have this loan agreement set up. Let's say this was you, Dan, and you're chatting to Dano, and he didn't have a loan agreement set up, and he's like, "Shit, like I've done it wrong all this time." Should he be totally stressed? Should he be going and dobbing himself into the ATO, being like, "I've ripped off the tax system"? Like how on a scale of 1 to 10, like how 10 being most stressed, how stressed should this person be if they've done it wrong?
Good question. I mean, technically, you've done it wrong. You shouldn't have claimed any interest for all the years that you've been claiming that interest. You should then go get a loan agreement done for yourself to the trust as soon as possible, right? I'm not going to say don't be stressed. Do I think there's a lot of compliance being put towards this? Probably not. If you are somebody who has essentially been negative gearing that distribution, like you've been offsetting your interest against a smaller amount of trust distribution, then that's probably a concern.
Or no trust distribution.
Or no trust distribution, then that is incorrect.
That's an issue. So that's probably closer to 10 on the scale.
But if you were someone in Dan's example where he was getting a 10 grand distribution and he had 5 grand of interest, if that interest was claimed in the trust and then he was distributed the difference, which would still be 5 grand, the tax result's the same in this case. So I wouldn't be too stressed in that scenario because there is no difference.
I feel like a lot of people may have done that. And then the only reason that you would get caught on that one is if they're auditing you for something else and they want to be nasty about it because you've been really breaking the rules. And they're like, well, actually, none of this interest is deductible because you didn't have a complying loan agreement in place.
Exactly. So if you're in that scenario, go set up a loan agreement, but the end tax result is more or less the same. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it, even though you haven't been doing it the right way. If you're someone who has been trying to negatively gear that interest or has massive losses carried forward because of these things, then that is a potentially a bigger problem.
No, I've got a few tax return amendments I've got to go lodge for myself now.
Yeah.
After this has been very insightful, Dan. Thank you.
Tim G.
Yeah, Tim G.
Yeah.
Tim G.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of how can you claim your tax deduction? Find us on all the usual places. Find us on YouTube. Go watch our videos. Find us on all the socials at Two Drunk Accountants. Shoot us an email, twodrunkpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the pod.
Beautiful.
All right. Calculator.
Bye.